Hello and welcome back to Sarah's Stitch, episode 16. So welcome back to my knitting podcast. This is my little place on YouTube where I can talk about my knitting and my knitting plans to all of you rather than my friends, family, and boyfriend who are sick of hearing me talk about it nonstop. So thank you for being here. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Follow me on Instagram. I've been doing a much better job of posting there and much more frequent updates than this, since this is gonna be about I think we're doing every 2 weeks. We'll see how much knitting I can get done during the summer, but last week, I'll get into it, but there was a tragedy and I didn't knit for a few days after it. But so I will go through my finished objects, any whips, acquisitions, and then plans. There's chaos all around me. My door is open. I live in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is right across the river from Manhattan, so it is a city. My doors are open. It's a beautiful day outside, so if there is street noise, I am sorry in advance. If it's bad, I will try and cut it out, but for the most part, it should be okay. So let's get started with finished objects. So the first finished object, which I have with me here, which I don't believe I had finished last time, are my socks. So these are the Crunkled Socks by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears, and the yarn is a Homespun House. The contrast color is Loganberry, which is one of Molly's tonals, and then the main color is Spice Cider. It's beautiful, it's super folly, and if you watched my spring plans video, my goal is to try and finish all of my single socks and turn them into pairs. So one of these, I can't tell which one, was started November 2021, and the other one was also started when I finished the second sock and just sat at about this much of the sock done until last week, and I finally got around to finishing it. Now I have some amazing socks for the fall, because these probably will not get worn until September, October, because these are tall socks, and if I wear wool socks or hand knit socks in the summer, I usually tend to wear shorties because this is my normal summer uniform if I'm not at work, which is just basic tank top, jean shorts. If I go outside, high top Chuck Taylors, Converse. So usually if I'm wearing socks, or I go no shoes when I'm at my parents' house because it's the beach and hard no on shoes. So if I'm wearing shoes which require socks, I usually wear shorty socks. So, or I have I don't know if I've ever shown them actually. I made a pair of socks with a ruffle on top that look adorable with my chucks, but these will not get worn until it's boot season again, but they will be perfect and ready to go. So, slowly making progress on my spring knit plans. Very slowly, but progress nonetheless. So this is my only finished object I have, because if you watched the last episode, and if you followed me on Instagram, you would have seen the saga play out. I was knitting my mom a sweater, Honeycomb Aran sweater by Gail Bunn. It's a Lion Brand pattern. It's free. It's a very traditionally kind of cabled Aran adjacent sweater, and I wanted to finish it for Mother's Day. My parents were going to London for their 15th wedding anniversary, and it was supposed to be cold. It was 80, 85 here, 60, high of 60 in London. So high of 16 in London, and oh, someone's at my door. High of 16 in London, and I don't know what that is, 27, 25 here in Celsius. So big temperature change. So I was oh, for Mother's Day, I'll finish your sweater for you. I did finish the sweater. And then the day before they were flying out, I was blocking it and had it soaking And like I normally do with all of my sweaters, I was like, oh, I'll just put it in the washer to spin for a little bit. It got stuck in the washer. Couldn't open the washer at all. I was like, oh, I'll go down for put it in for 5 minutes, get some of the water out. It'll dry quicker. Washer wouldn't open. Tried turning the washer off, locked. Unplugged it, locked. Couldn't get it open. So it spun for about 20 minutes and it was non-superwash. And it came out and it was completely felted. And at that point it was my birthday and I threw it out. I might have one picture of it, maybe. I have definitely a before picture of it. So I think the last time I filmed, I only had the back and one half of the sleeve done. So it took me like a solid week and a half of non-stop only knitting on that to get it done. Probably a week to get it done. And then I just had to seam it and wash it and block it. I was gonna block it before I seamed it so it just was straighter. Nope, didn't happen. It's in the trash, gone forever. So didn't give my mom the sweater. The sweater was made. And then I didn't knit for like 3 days after because I was very annoyed. Very annoyed is an understatement, I would say. I was so pissed off. And I know it's my own fault and I shouldn't do that. Will I do it again? Probably, but maybe not. It depends on, I'm moving at the end of the month. Ryan and I are moving actually into my old building, my old apartment in my old building. And I can't remember what the washers in that building have. The washer here has like a spin only cycle. I don't think the washers there have a spin only cycle, which does not bode well for the drying time on my garments, but it's fine. So that is the tragic tale of the honeycomb Aran. I enjoyed making it. It flew by. Majority of it was on 5mm needles. So it went by quickly. I mean, I knit the whole half of the garment. I knit in a week. So it does fly by. Granted, I was deadline knitting, so not real deadline, but like deadline knitting. So I feel like that kind of motivates. But it flew by. I would make it again. It was not nearly as annoying cable-wise as the Billy sweater. I think because the Billy sweater I started so many times, I was just over the honeycomb cables at that point. It was not nearly as annoying as that one. So that was nice. I think if I tried to make it again, I would try and just do it in the round rather than seam it, just so I could not have to purl as much. But other than that, highly recommend. Free pattern, which is we always love. But those are my finished and not so finished garments, items. Womp womp. All right, so whips. So like I mentioned, I spent almost a week straight of only knitting on the honeycomb Aran. So I don't have a ton of progress on things whip wise, but I do have some progress. So we'll start first with the biggest thing. So this I started to do after I felted the sweater because I felt terrible that I told my mom I would give her a sweater and I did not give her a sweater. So this had been started, but not much progress had been made on it. This is the, oh God, it's all twisted. This is the Ingrid Sweater by Petite Knit. This is my second Ingrid sweater I've made. The first one I made for myself in La Bien-Aimée. And I am knitting the size small for my mom on the recommended needle size. This is how far we are. I'm just starting the mock cables. I don't even know if it'll focus on that, but this is how it's looking. So I've done the back and the front, joined in the round, and I've gone through the first section of double seed. I don't really know what the difference is. I know there is a difference, but I think this is double moss. And I am using, there's no label on this, but This is yarn we got in Chamonix at the yarn store there. It is Lang yarn mallow. Oh, let me grab the ball of it. But this was the color my mom picked out. Got the yarn. Here we go. It is Lang mallow light baby alpaca. The color is 8870026. It's like a heathery browny gray beige. It's really pretty, and it's super soft. It's not like a blown yarn, I don't think. I don't know if this is gonna focus. Let's put all my years of watching YouTube to the test. It's like it's not like, it doesn't really have plies. It's just kind of like unspun, I guess, maybe, but it has more integrity than that. Maybe there's a core in there. I don't know. It is, I think, 75%, sorry for the crinkling. It's 72% baby alpaca, 16% nylon, and 12% wool. So it's a very light yarn and like very airy, but I think that this will wind up being pretty warm for my mom. So this is whip 1, and it actually is about the same size as the one I made myself, which I was trying to get it a little bit smaller because my mom doesn't like things quite so oversized, but it's working up to be about the same size. It is a drop shoulder, so you'll pick up stitches here. I'm sure everyone has seen this before, but I do love this pattern. It feels like it's a very quick knit because you're always changing like what you're doing. You have all the different textures, so it feels like it's flying by. Probably is not, but it feels like it is. All right, so my next item, I don't think I worked on this at all, but my Dear Duomo, I'll quickly go over it. I don't think I worked on this at all. This is how much sleeve progress I have. That's about it. It's by Song Hee Hong. I am making the medium size, and the yarn is Explore Knits and Fibers in the color Irish Goodbye from the Ireland collection, and it's on the fingering tweed base, which I'm holding double. And I'm not alternating skeins in this one because I don't know why. I just didn't feel like it. And I don't really think you can tell any differences. I'm not even like fading it in where the new skeins come in. So that is a testament to Allie and her team of how amazing they are at just getting consistent tonals over and over again. But I am very excited to have this. It's already like, I love the pattern. I think there are many similar patterns to this, but just like this style, either like this or just a plain raglan, I feel like in a tonal or a solid color, you could wear no matter what. All the time, classic silhouette. So that's my Dear Duomo. All right, next we're going to go into the sock world, which has had quite a bit of progress as seen by my 2-year-old socks. So the first sock whip I have, which is nearly done. This has been also shown on the podcast before. I don't know if I showed it in the last episode, but I definitely talked about it in the fall. These are my Moore's Hail socks by Inga from Knitting Traditions. And the yarn I'm using is Arnie and Carlos Regia Lofoten, the Lofoten line from 2 summers ago. And I already have a pair of socks knit out of one color. My goal is to knit a pair of socks out of every color and do a slightly different construction for each, just to kind of consistently see which one I prefer the most. So these ones are the Moore's Hell, and I just have literally, I don't know, what's that? Maybe 5 more stitches on each side to bind off on until I'm done with the toe. But the construction of these is, it is a heel flap. I think it's how Inga's grandma taught her how to make socks, or maybe it's just like the traditional Norwegian way to make socks, but there is a heel flap. It's not a reinforced heel flap with like slip stitches or anything. You just knit and stockinette. There is a gusset, and then at the bottom, instead of like a French heel turn or a square heel turn, which I usually do French heel turns when I do heel flaps, you just kind of knit two together and knit two together up, and then you just start knitting again in the round. So these are my Morse Hell. My first pair I made just have a German short row on the heel, and this wool wears phenomenally. It hasn't felted. My purple pair hasn't felted. I wore them probably once a week. Haven't felted, no holes. It feels very sturdy. I think it's, let's see. I think it is superwash, but it feels a little bit more rustic. And I don't know if Molly from a Homespun House, she's been making a few Reggie pairs of socks lately, and I don't know if it was on one of her Patreon vlogs or in her latest podcast episode where she mentioned they're gonna have a new base on sock sets that's similar to this, which I am dying to try because I've been loving knitting on these. I love the feel of them. They feel like they will last literally until I'm 200 years. Like, I don't think you could do anything to them that would ruin them. And did I ever say this? Oh God, it is machine washable. So I assume it's super wash. So machine washable to 40 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I guess it is super wash. It's 70%, 75% wool, 25% polyamide, and they're great. And I just ordered the last two, I think, balls of the line that I needed. So I will have hopefully 8 pairs of socks in this line. So these are my almost done whips. My next whips are, so I mentioned a few episodes ago, I think it was an episode, maybe it was in my spring knitting plans, that I wanted to get either a circular knitting machine or send yarn to get cranked, because I have quite a few sock sets that there's no way I'm ever going to knit through all my sock sets by hand, and I would love a circular knitting machine, but it's hard to justify the price. So I did send 6 skeins to go get cranked, which may or may not be fake knitting, but I don't care. I wanted them knit, and it made me feel like I accomplished something, even though I didn't. I went all the way to the post office to mail my yarn, and then it came back magically cranked. So that's what I accomplished. So I did start knitting one sock from the tube. So I will go through the sock I started first, and then I'll go through the rest of them. But so this is the tube, the first tube. This is Skein Yarn Street Feet. The colorway is Deep Dive, and it's this really pretty, like, I feel like this is like Caribbean colors almost, like just the blue, the teal, the seafoamy green, and the pink. It's gorgeous, so pretty. And I think the whole point of the Street Feet yarns are that they like kind of micro stripe, so you can see like every other, it might be, yeah, you can kind of see it, every other row is pretty much blue on here. So very fun. My issue with these is, and so I'm kind of starting with socks for myself, I don't know what needle size to knit on when I start. So I've done this sock with 2.25. It feels loose, but I don't know if that's just how I crank, or like how I wound up the mini for this, or if I actually am that loose of a knitter and I just need to do everything on 2 millimeters. But this is my sock number 1. So I did a wedge toe, and then I used K. Jones umbrella sock pattern for the afterthought heel. And these are either going to be for my mom or me. We're both a size 9, which I think is a 39 or a 40 European. And I did 63 rounds for the foot before I put in the heel. And then I guess these probably will be for my mom because it's kind of a longer leg. And then this is a 60 row leg, and I've just started the ribbing. And this is the contrast color that came with the 100-gram skein. It's just a peachy mauvey color. So this is sock 1. I'm hoping, well, not hoping, I know I can get 2 socks for my mom out of this, and then whatever's left over I'm just gonna make shorties for myself with, just to kind of practice, because like I said, I'm new to this. So figure out what's going on. I think definitely next pair I do will be on 2 millimeters rather than 2.25, because I'm not loving, I'm sure some of it will even out with blocking, but like it just looks sloppy. I don't know. Like my socks never look like that on other socks, and I've done this heel before, so I know it's not the heel and it's not my normal knitting, so it must be the needles, which I started with 2.25 because I feel like that's like the universal sock needle. So like, oh, I guess 2.25, since I assume the circular knitting machine is 2.25-ish. So, but yeah, after this, I will not be doing 2.25, I don't think. And this is a 64 stitch tube. So the next few tubes I had cranked, I have this tube, which is another skein yarn. It's this beautiful, this one you can definitely tell the striping. And this was from the Street Feet Color Club from February or March. And the colorway, I know the color was paprika, and when I had them cranked, I'll put the Etsy shop where I got them cranked below. I can't remember the full name of it. I know the person who is behind it, his name is Shanity, I think. She's in Texas, but this colorway was called saffron. So it came with the 100-gram and then the mini. And when I had her crank the tubes, because I knew I was going to probably try and get 2 socks out of each, I had her leave off 20 grams just so I could use the leftover from this when the minis ran out. So the corresponding mini with this skein is, oh, I already kicked it up. Oh, God. Here. So this will be heels, toes, and cuffs on at least one set of socks, and you can see that saffron color was the colorway, and it's speckled throughout here. And I'm so excited to see this knit into socks, because I think this will be so cool to have speckle contrast. So that is tube number 2. Tube number 3, that was also 64 stitches. This is again another 64 stitch tube. Here is the remaining yarn, and this again is skein yarn. What color do we think this is? Blue violet, which I believe was the March. Yep, this was the March Street. I keep wanting to say Fleet Feet, and I don't know why. Street Feet Club color was this, blue violet. So this is the main skein. Again, you can see that like kind of micro striping with the purple. And I think this is such a fun pair, just colorway, and maybe a more Valentine's Day sock just from the pink and purple. But I love it. And again, probably will do 2 sets of socks, one for me, one for my mom. And this is the mini that came with it. So you can see that purple kind of repeated, and the blue as well. That is number 3. And then 4th 64 stitch tube I got is this, which is a Homespun House. This is Halloween at Hogwarts from 2022. And this is on Molly's, I want to say this was Gold Stellina, but maybe not. Not seeing any Stellina in here, but here's what we're looking at. Definitely Halloween-y. And this one kind of pools more. You can see it like kind of stripes, like spirals down, which a lot of Molly's yarns have been doing lately with just how she's dyeing. Not so much now, I should say. In the fall, a lot of the fall yarns she had dyed. FedEx truck. A lot of the fall yarns she had dyed were kind of doing the like spiral thing, which I don't mind. So I definitely will be making a pair for myself out of these, maybe two, because I do love this colorway. And this is the mini that came with it. It is Molly's amethyst color, and it's on Gold Stellina. I don't know. Yeah, you can see the Gold Stellina there. So that is tube number 4. I guess this kind of whips and acquisitions. And then tubes 5 and 6 are 72 stitches because they will be going to my dad. So the first one is Woolberry, and the colorway is, it is from the Downton collection, and it's the Mary sock set. So I think this was the Mary color. So it's this really, really pretty teal with these darker specks, and then a few lighter bits with the dark specks. I don't know if it's gonna come across in camera. They're kind of like greeny brown. So that is Mary, and then the coordinating mini is, I know this is called The Weekend, and it's supposed to be Matthew. And it's this really, really nice, like cool toned brown. So that will go in here. And I think for my dad, I'll just make this all one sock, because I do have an extra 20 grams of all of them left over, but I think that I'll make this into a sock for my dad and then keep the 20 grams for myself as a contrast in the future. And I don't know if I said 72 stitches. Next and finally for the sock tubes is this tube, which again, 72 stitches. My dad picked this out specifically while he was traveling in Tasmania. I think it's a Tasmanian company, and he got it from Sala something yarns, Salamanca, person. They have a shop in Hobart, I believe, but he got this yarn there. And the company is White Gum Wool. I will try and find the colorway on the label, but this is what it looks like knit up. So it's just really fun. Honestly, it kind of looks like camo-y. It kind of looks like almost camo, blue camo to me, but it looks really cool. And I don't have a mini for this, so I'm debating if I want to do a contrast, because I think my dad would like a contrast, or if I just use the 20 grams left over and just make the heels, toes, and cuffs in the same colorway. But we'll see. I think I'm going to do a contrast because I think it would be fun with this, but so this looks huge. I know it's because I usually do 64 stitches, but this looks massive. Like, compared to my Morris Hell socks, which is also 64 stitches. Maybe it's not that huge. Oh, kind of is. Like, I guess it's not that much bigger, but it feels like it's so much bigger. It's like, what's that, half an inch bigger? But yes. So that is all of my works in progress and slight acquisitions. I do have, as always, a few more whips floating around, but they haven't really gotten much progress on them because I was too busy knitting a sweater and then felting it. I do have a few, I think just one acquisition, which is my collective Woolberry colorway from March. It is a sock set, and the colorway is First Light. So First Light is this beautiful like lavendery mauvey skein, and then it has this contrasting green, and Bethany does the best greens in the whole wide world. So this will also be a set of socks, which, do I need more sock sets? No. Do I continue to order sock sets? Yep, sure do. So that is it for me, I think. Yes, pretty sure that's it for me. My couch is now covered in chaos, and I need to clean it up after I'm done working for the day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Thank you very much for watching. Please like I already said, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, so you know when I post, and it will help get this video out to more people so I can annoy more people with my knitting chats. And yes, follow me on Instagram for more frequent updates on my knitting. I've been very good about posting. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.